priming effect is very similar, but a little bit different. And so I want to draw the distinction between the two. So first, let me give you a definition of the priming effect. By focusing on certain issues or attributes, like sort of characteristics of political leaders, the news coverage can affect the way we evaluate our leaders. It can affect the way we evaluate political parties. By focusing on certain issues or on certain attributes, some like parts of a person's character, the media can affect the way we evaluate our leaders or political parties. How many people are watching very much of the news about the Republican nomination process? That's it? Is your hand going up? How many people? Yeah.
Try to.
Try to? Too painful?
No, that's when you catch the news. When you have time to catch the news.
Yeah. Well, I'm a junkie. What can I say? I wake up. It has not been a happy... Is that, you think that's an unfair representation? It has not been a happy experience. It has been not good. Anyways, so sometimes they talk about Mitt Romney, and they'll talk about, so he'll say something quirky or kind of odd, and then they'll focus on that. Right? Those kinds of things affect how we evaluate our leaders. So I want to talk to you about an experiment. I'm going to actually pretend like it was an experiment that was done now. But it was actually done a while ago, and it was with Jimmy Carter. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about it as if it was done with President Obama. And the reason I'm going to do that is just so it makes more sense to you guys. But what I'm going to describe is an experiment that was actually done in the 1970s to go ahead and explain what priming is and what the priming effect is. In political science, sometimes what we do is we do experiments to try and see if we can find out how the media affects people. And so in this particular experiment, what they did is they got a whole bunch of students. Because, has anybody here taken Intro to Psychology? Did you guys have to participate in experiments in your psychology class? Usually, like at UCLA, if you take an Intro to Psychology class, you have to participate in like 5 or 6 experiments where they have different people doing research. And so this was one of those. So what they told the students was, we don't want you to watch any of the news the night before. What we're going to do is we're going to have you watch the news here in the laboratory. This laboratory is just like a setting where people sit and just watch the news. And so they got, I think, like 200 and 250 people, and they divided them up randomly into 2 groups. Now, when you divide them up randomly, do you guys know why would you divide them up randomly? Why would you just randomly send people to one group or the other? Like, would you want to have all girls on one and all boys on the other?
No, it's a better sample.
That's blocking.
Pardon me?
That's blocking. They do that sometimes. It's called blocking, and you block by either gender or age or something like that to get different outcomes on them.
Right, but if you want to find the effect of
everyone.
Don't you just want it random?
You want it random, so because you can assume that both groups are more or less the same. If you randomly assign people to 2 groups, you can just assume that they are more or less the same. And so the people in group 1 in this experiment, imagine that they saw, they said, we're going to show you last night's news now. They go ahead and they show them 7 reports. The first report they see is a local crime story. The second report they see are about tornadoes that happen in Oklahoma. And then the next 3 reports that they see are reports about the Obama administration's policies on terrorism, dealing with terrorism. There's a report, and another report. Now the reason that I'm going ahead, and you'll see I have a plus and a minus over here, is because what I'm trying to show is that in each of these stories, what the journalists are doing is they're giving some favorable comments and some unfavorable comments. They're saying some good things about the Obama administration. They're saying some negative things about the Obama administration. So they talk about terrorism. They do another story on terrorism. They do another story on terrorism. Go to a commercial, come back. Then there's a report on yoga as a way to reduce stress. Final story, some happy story about an 85-year-old woman who graduated from college. Boom, end of the news. All these people in group 1, they saw that news. Over here in group 2, I can't do that, can I? Oh, just leave the screen empty over here. All those people, you have to come to class for this. Sorry, yes.
Oh.
We're going to have to find details. It's too far. Okay, deal with it. All the people in group 2, right, they saw the same local story, the crime story that they saw. They saw the same story about tornadoes, but then the next 3 reports that they saw were about the Obama administration's policies on the economy instead, right? And again, you can see from the pluses and minuses that it's both positive and negative. Some favorable things, some unfavorable things. Then after that, they go ahead and they show them the yoga as a way to reduce stress report. Then an 85-year-old woman who graduates from college, boom, the news is over. Now, this is how priming works. This is what they did in the Carter experiment. This is the way it would work in the Obama experiment. If you were to go ahead and talk to the people in group 1, and you were to ask them, I want you to rate President Obama on a scale of 0 to 100. What do you think that they would primarily base their evaluation of President Obama on?
On terrorism.
On terrorism. And why? What's at the top of their head?
Terrorism.
Terrorism.
It was 3 stories.
3 stories in a row, terrorism. If they like President Obama's policies on terrorism, they've got a bunch of pluses at the top of their head. If they dislike President Obama's policies on terrorism, they've got a bunch of minuses at the top of their head. I mean, this is the memory-based model that we talked about before. So if you go ahead and you ask them, do you approve or disapprove of the job President Obama is doing, what are they going to say? Pardon?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? What will it depend on?
Terrorism.
Agree or disagree?
If they agree or disagree. The media won't be able to tell them what they should think. But they will be able to tell them what to think about.
And it depends on how the stories were, on if they were. You said some in the stories that were positive and negative, and they're gonna.
This has a little bit of both.
They can take out what they want to think. If they want to think take the positive out and just explore it, or they can go totally negative. You know.
Absolutely.
Because the media gave you both.
Right. The media gives them both.
To pick what you want to choose. Right.
If there's somebody who likes President Obama and they get the negative information, they're going to counter-argue that.
Right.
Right. But so the media won't be able to tell these people what they should think about President Obama. But they won't be able to tell them what they should think, but they will be able to affect what they think about. Hang on one second, Kitty. In group 2, people in group 2, when they evaluate President Obama, what are they going to evaluate him based on? On the economy. And again, are they going to like President Obama or are they going to not? Are they going to give him a high score or a low score? It depends. It totally depends. The media, so this group of people who are very similar or identical to this group of people, when these people were asked to rate President Obama, they do it based on terrorism. These people over here do it based on the economy. The media is not telling them what to think, but the media is surely telling them what to think about. And that is another example of a subtle effect. Priming effects. And when we talk about priming, priming is when you bring something to the top of someone's head. Well, that's what they're doing. Terrorism is at the top of the head here. For these people, the economy is at the top of the head for those people. So if I ask a question about this, one of the things that I might ask you is I might say, thinking in terms of the memory-based model, explain how the priming effect works. And the way that I would want you to talk about that would be to say, you know, according to the memory-based model, when people answer survey questions, they do it by taking a random sample of what's at the top of the head and the back of the head, but mostly from the top of the head, and based on that sample, they come up with a decision. When the media covers a topic like terrorism, depending on what somebody thinks about terrorism, they're either going to have positive things or negative things at the top of their head. And when they're asked to evaluate Obama, that's how they're going to do it. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to sort of write that out, that whole thing. So just imagine the question is, on an exam, using the memory-based information processing model, explain how the priming effect works. And then Kenny, can you hang for your question until we come back? Okay, don't forget it though.